And what did you learn in during sex ed at maybe high school or college that you think definitely missed the mark?
Um, I think the first thing that misses the mark, I'm a queer woman of color. So obviously their sex ed doesn't like encompass me like almost at all. Um, I think the first thing that misses the mark is their definition of sex. It's the definition of sex we all learn about. It's like the penis and vagina. And it gives like almost no like information about consent, no information about like just the regular like things that the vagina will go through. And like pleasure really. And sex is kind of just talked about in this capacity that either like only serves men or is just like something that you go through to reproduce, which is just not true. Um, and so I think coming from that kind of background, it takes a lot to develop. Um, it takes a lot to own up to your own sexuality, right? Um, it takes like a lot of like discovering on your own, and it's like you have to use the internet, which always isn't the best resource. There's a lot of like misinformation, and it's just like a lot to do on your own, especially like as such a young person.
How did you navigate that? How did you could you kind of summarize your journey from, feeling that discomfort with your own body to finally being able to maybe accept yourself a little bit more as you are?
Yeah, I think one of the like biggest turning points was like maybe around like last year or like this year when um I became more active on social media and a lot more people just kind of like talked about it more. And like you realize that like these things that you like made yourself feel so bad about, like everyone goes through. Um and for me that was like a real eye opener, like, oh, I don't have to be ashamed of this and like this is actually really super normal. Um and like when more people talk about it, like the more you realize like you're not alone going through this. And it really just like opens you up to like a whole new world of like exploring your sexuality and just feeling like more like inside of your body, you know.
What do you think led to that? Was it, when you moved to college and started to kind of seek out people who you were more comfortable with or resonated with more, or were there other factors that, allowed you to kind of explore that?
Yeah, I definitely think that like me moving to college was definitely a huge factor in that. I come from like a really predominantly white small town. And I'm not out to my parents, and my parents have like it's still hard for my mom to like say the word vagina around me. Like I kind of just figured everything out myself like when I got my period. Um so like coming to college, being away from my parents, being away from that small town, like that was huge. But not only that, like being involved with organizations like the Queer Student Union here on campus. They have like events like a kink workshop, and like sex toy workshop, and that is like just so incredible. Like coming from like such a conservative town where like the word like you can't say the word dildo in sex ed. You have to call it a sex apparatus